I think there's a very specific type of grief that many Americans are feeling right now. It's the grief of watching as our current president gives people full permission to be the most cruel, unfiltered, and dehumanizing versions of themselves, and watching as people we know embrace it. And to be clear, I'm not talking about people who genuinely believe that current policies are good for things like the economy or foreign relations. I'm talking about people whose entire political ideology is built on things like owning the libs or finding humor in other people's suffering. And there's actually a name for this sort of grief. It's called moral injury, which is the feeling we get when our core values are betrayed by people we once trusted. Studies show that moral injury is a form of profound psychological stress that can activate the body's stress system. And when moral injury isn't resolved, the stress response can put our body into a chronic state of high alert, which we call dysregulation. And over time, chronic dysregulation increases the risk of long-term health problems. So lately I've been asking myself, how do we stay regulated around people who inflict moral injury? And is finding common ground with them an act of courage or an act of harm? And how much tolerance can we offer before it becomes complicity? The philosopher Karl Popper warned about this in what he called the paradox of tolerance. To preserve a tolerant society, he argued, we have to be intolerant of intolerance. But that leads us to the hardest part, which is boundaries. Most experts would say that the solution to moral injury and the paradox of intolerance is putting in place healthy boundaries by reducing or even eliminating contact with people who embrace cruelty or intolerance. But that doesn't make it easy. Breaking social bonds literally hurts us. Brain imaging studies show that losing important relationships activates the same neural pathways as physical pain. So this puts us in an impossible situation. Our nervous systems crave connection, but they also crave safety and shared morality. So what do we do when those things are no longer compatible? There's no easy answer. But I do know this. Dysregulation thrives in isolation, while regulation thrives in community. And I think one of the best medicines for this grief we're experiencing right now is finding our people. The ones who soften us, the ones who hold us through our grief, and the ones who still believe in empathy, even when the world tries to convince us not to.